Thank you, Speaker. My question is for the Premier. We are losing autism services in the North. Diagnostic capacity is decreasing. Children and their families have waited long enough, and thanks to this government's cuts, service providers are laying off staff and discontinuing services. Something this government knew would happen, but did it anyway. Meanwhile, this government says they won't do anything to help until maybe next April. Northern families cannot wait. Adriana Atkins from Manitowoc, who is here today, must travel with her son 400 kilometers to Thunder Bay for services he needs. Adriana needs our help now and not next year. When is this government going to fix the problems it created for Northern families?
The Premier.
Minister of Children, Community and Social Services.
Refer to the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services.
Thanks very much to the member opposite for the question, and thanks to the families actually who have travelled down from Northern Ontario to be with us here today. Mr. Speaker, we're taking this issue very seriously. I can tell you that for the last 30 years, governments of all stripes in this legislature have not gotten the autism file right. And that's why we've taken the time over the summer to ensure that, first of all, I went out and met with a lot of the families who are here in the north, in Kenora and in Thunder Bay and in Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury and also in North Bay, Mr. Speaker, just a few of the stops over the summer. But while I was doing that in conjunction with that tour and meeting with families face-to-face, Mr. Speaker, our Ontario Autism panel was meeting throughout the summer. They've made well over 100 recommendations, Mr. Speaker. We're working extremely hard to implement all of the recommendations that that panel has made, Mr. Speaker, so that we can have an autism program to be proud of.
Thank you very much. The supplementary question, the member for Sudbury.
Thank you, Speaker. Back to the Premier. The North is in crisis, Premier. The government's cuts have been devastating for families of children with autism in the North. Service capacity that took decades to build has been decimated in less than a year under this government. Providers like Child Community Resources in Sudbury have had to let go of staff and discontinue services. Speaker, this was the only provider for French-speaking children in Sudbury and in the riding of Nickel Belt. Children and families are now left waiting because there's nowhere to spend the money they receive for treatment, and those are the lucky ones that receive any support at all. The North cannot wait until April 2020. We need a needs-based system now. Premier, how much longer will families be forced to wait to get help for their kids?
Minister.
Merci, Monsieur le Président, et merci de le député opposé pour la question aujourd'hui. I want to tell, Mr. Speaker, the families that are here, and I know they're meeting with some of my staff a little bit later on today to talk about the rollout of the Ontario Autism Program and how that's going to be occurring over the coming weeks and months, Mr. Speaker. I just want to let them know that we fully understand the situation in the North, and we have been in constant communication with those service providers, those agencies that are actually going to be helping their children get the services that they need. I can tell you that my staff have been working extremely hard in the ministry and in the department, Mr. Speaker, to take those over 100 recommendations and then figure out how we're going to implement those, Mr. Speaker, so that, first of all, we do have a truly needs-based program, one that's there for the families when they need it, and one that's bigger than it's ever been, Mr. Speaker. A $600 million budget. That's twice the amount that was invested by the previous government, Mr. Speaker. It's going to be a great program.
Thank you very much.